sometimes we have opportunities that we don't want, but because God can see something in us, He gives it to us. And sometimes we go through some things in life that we don't want, but because God can trust us, He gives it to us. And a lot of times, what is a blessing, we don't even see it as a blessing. Because if you go through enough hardship to get to where you're at, when you get there, it's almost as if, it's as if it's just life. And you don't see the great blessing in it because of what you had to go through. They have this thing, I can't remember what it is, but it used to be at my mom's workplace, where they used to have a sweepstakes. I can't remember what the sweepstakes is called. And the sweepstakes is that you give $100 or something, and then they put it in a raffle, and then you win a house. I guarantee you, especially if the person doesn't have a lot of money, when they move into that 5-bedroom house or that 10-bedroom house, and they move into it, they're just taken aback. But I'll also guarantee you this: the majority of people that actually buy their own house, like they buy their own house, and they pay all the money for it, especially if they don't have a mortgage. Like if a person gets a 10-bedroom house and they don't have a mortgage, they take their money and they buy the whole house themselves. When they walk in there, they don't feel as amazed as a person that paid $150 for it. And the reason why is that they paid the cost. When you move into something where you paid the cost for it, you don't get as excited about it. So it's kind of like this, like a lot of things in life we want to have, but we don't think about the cost. And when you pay the cost for it, even when you get it, you appreciate it. I'm not saying you don't appreciate it, but you don't have the same excitement of when you worked 30 years to buy that 10-bedroom house than when you waited 30 minutes to watch a television screen to get the house. The process changes your excitement about the dream. And a lot of times we look at the dream, but we don't look at the process. And sometimes when you get through the process to get to the dream, it's like, if you're not careful, a part of you thinks, man, I paid too much. I paid too much to get this thing. But at the end of the day, it's the greatest blessing is to see, even when you don't feel it, is to see the way that God is working in your life, even though you don't feel it. Because Joseph, after 20 years, you don't have any of your family members. You have a little brother, and your little brother is almost a man. You haven't seen your dad for 20 years. You haven't seen your family for 20 years. They all think that you're dead. And like 20 years later, yeah, you get to feed your whole family, you get to free your whole family. But like by now your mom is dead. By now your dad's getting ready to die. It's like you lost so much for your dream to come to pass. Yeah. You lost so much for your dream to come to pass. But you need to have another vision. And what I love about Joseph is that Joseph didn't look at his brothers and at his dad and his mom. Joseph looked at the young people that are coming next. And he recognized that because of me, all of my brother's children, because of me, all of my sister's children, because of me, God's people are going to be able to survive.
Praise God.
God used me to let people survive. Because if he looked at it from the point of view of his own life, he'd say, "Oh God, I wasted my life." But when he looks at it from the point of view of God's perspective,
salvation,
he says, "Oh God, I invested my life." Because so many people's lives were touched and transformed. And it's not so much that he saw it either, because he didn't see it with his eyes.
No.
Because at that time he saw his brother, a few little kids. None of them have money. None of them have anything to offer him. That's what he saw with his eyes. But when he allowed God to show him the larger vision of where things are going to go, he says, when you guys move to the promised land, because he had a vision of the promised land, he says to take my bones from Egypt and put my bones in Israel, put my bones in the promised land, because he had vision for the future. And if we're going to dream for today or dream for tomorrow, in order for us to continue to walk in that dream, when you start going through the process of it, sometimes you're going to want to quit depending upon what it is. But you have to look beyond what you're doing today and look at the bigger picture of what God is doing through you.